A woman dedicated 3 years to manifestation, treating it like a full-time job. She amassed crystals, performed sage smudging during every lunar phase, and filled 17 journals with affirmations. She immersed herself in workshops, purchased numerous courses, and memorized visualization techniques gleaned from every spiritual teacher she could find. Despite this intense effort, her bank account remained stubbornly empty, her relationships unchanged, and her dreams felt further away than ever before. Then, on an unremarkable Tuesday afternoon, a shift occurred. She was sitting in her car after yet another disappointing meeting. She wasn't actively manifesting, reciting affirmations, or visualizing abundance. She was simply present, allowing herself to be. In that moment of complete surrender, a profound understanding washed over her, a knowing that transcended her conscious thought. She realized she had been actively resisting the very thing she was trying to create. In that instant, her entire understanding of manifestation crumbled. She recognized that she'd been operating from a place of lack, ironically while striving to attract abundance. Every technique she'd employed had subtly reinforced the belief that what she wanted wasn't already hers. Every practice was rooted in the misconception that she needed to earn her inherent worth and abundance. That was the day she ceased trying to manifest and began allowing what was already reaching out to her. What you desire is inherently a part of you. It's not something to chase, persuade, or prove your worthiness to receive. Your desires are already actively reaching toward you through the quantum field, with an intensity mirroring your own longing. The question isn't whether manifestation works. It's whether you are vibrationally aligned to receive what's rightfully yours. However, this realization demands a complete overhaul of your learned relationship with desire itself. Since childhood, you've been conditioned to believe that wanting something implies you lack it, that desiring something signifies incompleteness. These aren't merely thoughts, they are deeply ingrained energetic patterns woven into your nervous system, triggering an automatic response each time a desire surfaces. Observe your body's reaction when you contemplate something you truly want. Notice the tension, the urgency, the subtle anxiety that arises. This is your nervous system activating the frequency of lack, a conditioned response linking desire to separation. But what if desire isn't evidence of a deficiency? What if it's proof of an existing connection? In the quantum field, there is no such thing as emptiness. What appears vacant is actually a field of boundless potential, teeming with every possibility that has ever been or could ever be. Your desires don't stem from lack. They arise from this field of potential, recognizing itself through your consciousness. When drawn to something, you aren't identifying a void in your life. You're recognizing something poised to emerge into your experience. This completely alters your perspective on manifestation. Your desires are not problems demanding solutions, but gifts to be embraced. They aren't indications of flaws in your current reality, but invitations to fully express yourself. They aren't random whims of the ego, but precise messages from the universe about what's seeking to manifest through you. Most people complicate manifestation unnecessarily because they've been taught that worthwhile endeavors require struggle. They layer technique upon technique, believing that increased effort equates to faster results. Quantum science, however, reveals that the field responds not to your effort, but to your coherence. Not to your desperation, but to your alignment. Not to your wanting, but to your being. Consider how a tuning fork operates. Striking one will cause any other tuning fork of the same frequency to vibrate resonantly, even across a room. They don't strive to match each other. They don't work at harmonizing. They naturally synchronize to the same frequency, a fundamental characteristic of vibrational systems. Manifestation in the quantum field works in precisely the same way. Your consciousness acts like a tuning fork, constantly broadcasting a vibrational frequency determined by your dominant emotional state, your beliefs about reality, and your nervous system's perception of safety or threat. Everything you desire exists at specific frequencies within the quantum field. When your personal frequency aligns with the frequency of your desire, resonance occurs automatically, not through effort, but through coherence. However, this is where many people falter. They attempt to alter their frequency through mental effort alone, utilizing affirmations, visualizations, and positive thinking to override deeper emotional patterns. This is analogous to trying to change a guitar's sound by simply thinking differently about the strings. The instrument's frequency is determined by string tension, not by your thoughts about the music it could produce. Your emotional body is like those guitar strings. The frequency you emit is determined by the emotional tension or ease you carry regarding specific subjects. If you harbor emotional tension around money, unresolved trauma from past financial hardship, or nervous system activation related to survival, no amount of positive thinking about abundance will shift your vibrational frequency concerning wealth. The field responds to what you feel, not to what you believe you should feel. You've lived within a paradigm that dictates you must work for what you want. Quantum manifestation operates on a fundamentally different premise. You don't create what you want. You become receptive to what's already seeking you. You don't manifest through force, but through resonance. You don't attract by trying harder, but by trying less and being more. This isn't spiritual bypassing or wishful thinking. It's the science of consciousness interacting with the quantum field. When you grasp how reality forms at the quantum level, manifestation ceases to be a practice and becomes a natural expression of your being. The frustration stemming from most manifestation teachings arises because they instruct you to manipulate reality externally, when reality can only be shifted internally. They teach you to chase what you want when what you want is already moving toward you. They teach you to become worthy of your desires when you are already vibrationally aligned with everything you've ever dreamed of. The simplicity of true manifestation is precisely what makes it challenging for most to accept, because simplicity requires surrender. Surrender threatens every narrative you've been told about how life functions. It challenges the belief that you must earn love, struggle for success, and prove your worthiness for abundance. What if none of that were true? What if the very act of trying to manifest creates resistance? What if your desires aren't goals to achieve, but frequencies to embody? What if manifestation isn't about acquiring something you lack, but about removing obstacles to what's already yours? This quantum truth is transformative. You are not separate from what you desire. You and your desires coexist within the same unified field of consciousness. When you want something, that wanting initiates a corresponding movement within the field. Your desire literally summons your manifestation into existence across all possible timelines simultaneously. Quantum mechanics takes on a mystical quality here. The many worlds interpretation of quantum physics posits that every possible outcome of every situation exists simultaneously in parallel realities. Right now, a version of you already possesses everything you've ever desired. There's a timeline where you live in abundance, another where you're perfectly healthy, another where you experience the love you've always longed for. These aren't fantasies or potential futures. They are actual realities coexisting in the quantum multiverse. The question isn't whether these realities exist. Quantum science confirms their existence. The question is which reality you're tuning into with your consciousness, which timeline you're collapsing into your experience through your vibrational frequency, which version of infinite possibilities you're making real through your moment-to-moment choices about belief, feeling, and embodiment. Therefore, manifestation isn't about creating something new. It's about selecting which existing reality you wish to experience. It's about shifting your consciousness from the timeline where you lack what you want to the one where you already possess it. It's about quantum leaping between parallel versions of yourself until you arrive in the reality that aligns with your deepest desires. Most people never make this leap because they attempt to reach a different timeline while remaining emotionally anchored to their current one. They desire abundance while continuing to feel scarcity. They yearn for love while remaining familiar with loneliness. They want success while clinging to the comfort of struggle. This creates what quantum physicists call interference patterns, where multiple frequencies cancel each other out instead of amplifying each other. Imagine trying to tune into a radio station while simultaneously broadcasting static on the same frequency. The signal becomes muddled, distorted, unclear. This is what happens when you manifest from a divided consciousness, when part of you wants something new, while another part clings to the familiar, even if that familiar is limitation. The art of quantum manifestation lies in becoming singular in your frequency, coherent in your vibration, unified in your consciousness. It involves aligning every aspect of your being, mental, emotional, physical, energetic, with the reality you choose to experience, not through force or effort, but through recognition and embodiment. Most people never receive what they're calling in because they vibrate at the frequency of separation rather than union. They broadcast need instead of knowing. They radiate effort instead of ease. And the field, ever perfectly responsive, mirrors back precisely what they're emitting. Let me share something that will reshape your understanding of the relationship between you and your desires. In quantum physics, there's a principle called entanglement. When two particles become entangled, they remain connected regardless of distance. What affects one instantly affects the other. They aren't separate entities. They're a single system manifesting in two locations. Your consciousness and your desires function similarly. They are entangled in the quantum field. When you desire something, you aren't reaching for something external. You're recognizing something already vibrationally connected to you. Your desire is the universe's way of showing you what's ready to manifest through you. However, this natural flow is obstructed the moment you try to force it. You create interference in the entanglement. It's like trying to force two magnets together. The harder you push, the more they resist. But when you simply allow them to find their natural attraction, they unite effortlessly. This is why manifestation becomes exponentially more potent when you relinquish the need to control how, when, and where it occurs. Because control is based on the illusion of separation between you and your desires, while alignment is based on the truth of your inherent oneness. So how do you transition from trying to allowing? How do you shift from effort to ease? How do you become receptive to what's already seeking you? It starts with understanding that your nervous system, not your mind, is the primary manifestation mechanism. Your nervous system constantly broadcasts your vibrational signature to the quantum field. This signature isn't determined by what you think or say, but by what you feel and embody. When your nervous system believes you already possess what you want, the field responds by collapsing that timeline into your physical reality. But when your nervous system is activated by lack, fear, or desperation, no amount of positive thinking can override that signal. Your body becomes a transmission tower broadcasting scarcity, and the field reflects that frequency back with perfect precision. Therefore, true manifestation work is nervous system work. It's not about programming your mind with new thoughts. It's about teaching your body to feel safe in the frequency of having what you want. It's about embodying the emotional signature of your fulfilled desires until that signature becomes your natural state. And here's the beautiful paradox. The moment your nervous system truly embodies the feeling of already having what you want, you stop needing it in the same desperate way. You want it, but you don't need it. You desire it, but you're not attached to it. You're open to receiving it, but you're complete without it. This energetic state is magnetic because it's free from the resistance of neediness. When you're complete within yourself, you become a vacuum for everything that matches your wholeness. When you're abundant in your energy, abundance flows to you effortlessly. When you are love in your frequency, love finds you everywhere. Take a moment and comment below with this phrase, "I am already whole." Let this be your declaration to the quantum field that you're no longer trying to become something you're not. You're simply remembering who you've always been. This isn't about convincing yourself of something untrue. It's about recognizing the truth hidden beneath layers of conditioning. You are not broken and needing to be fixed. You are not lacking and needing to be filled. You are already whole, already complete, already connected to everything you desire. But your conditioning has trained you to look for evidence of what's missing instead of what's already present. You've been taught to focus on what you do not have instead of what you're already receiving. You've been conditioned to believe that wanting something means you're separate from it, when wanting is actually the first movement of manifestation. Here's what changes when you truly understand this. You stop trying to get things from the universe and start allowing things to flow through you. You stop seeing yourself as separate from your desires and start recognizing yourself as the space through which they manifest. You stop being a beggar asking for scraps and start being a co-creator collaborating with infinite intelligence. This shift in identity changes everything because it changes your vibrational signature. Instead of broadcasting need, you broadcast readiness. Instead of radiating desperation, you radiate receptivity. Instead of transmitting lack, you transmit love. And love is the frequency that dissolves all resistance between you and what you're calling in. But love here doesn't mean emotional attachment. It means energetic alignment. It means being in harmony with the natural flow of creation. It means trusting that what's meant for you is already on its way to you. It means knowing that the universe is not working against you, but is you. This trust isn't blind faith, it's scientific understanding. Quantum physics shows us that consciousness is the fundamental ground of reality. Your awareness doesn't just observe reality, it participates in creating reality. Every moment, your consciousness is collapsing infinite possibilities into singular experiences. The question is whether you're collapsing possibilities that align with your desires or possibilities that perpetuate your limitations. Most people believe consciousness happens inside their brain, contained within their skull, limited to their personal thoughts and perceptions. But quantum field theory reveals something far more extraordinary. Consciousness isn't local. It's not confined to your individual mind. It's a field phenomenon extending beyond the boundaries of your physical body, connecting you to the universal intelligence that orchestrates all of reality. This means your thoughts, emotions, and intentions don't just affect your personal experience. They ripple out into the quantum field and influence the fabric of reality itself. When you shift your consciousness, you're not just changing your inner world, you're participating in the continuous creation of the collective reality we all share. This is why individual transformation is never merely personal, it's always cosmic. Every time you choose love over fear, abundance over scarcity, trust over control, you're not just improving your own life, you're strengthening those frequencies in the collective field, making it easier for others to access and embody them. Every time you collapse a timeline of limitation and step into a timeline of possibility, you're expanding what's available for all consciousness to experience. This is the deeper purpose behind manifestation that most teachings miss. It's not about getting what you want so you can be happy. It's about becoming the kind of consciousness that naturally attracts what it desires so that you can serve the evolution of all consciousness. It's about embodying the frequencies of love, abundance, joy, and peace so powerfully that you become a living transmission of these qualities for everyone around you. When you understand manifestation from this perspective, everything changes. You're no longer trying to manipulate reality for personal gain. You're aligning with the evolutionary impulse of consciousness itself. You're not taking from a limited supply of good things. You're increasing the abundance available to everyone by demonstrating what's possible when someone fully embodies their divine nature. This shift in motivation changes the quality of your manifestations because it removes the ego's agenda and aligns you with the universe's agenda. And the universe's agenda is always the expansion of love, consciousness, and creative expression. When your desires are in harmony with this cosmic purpose, the entire field of reality reorganizes itself to support your manifestations. This doesn't mean your desires must be noble or spiritual for manifestation to work. The universe doesn't judge your wants as good or bad, spiritual or material, worthy or unworthy. Every desire you have, even the seemingly selfish ones, serves the expansion of consciousness when approached from this understanding of unity and interconnection. When you desire financial abundance, you're not just seeking personal security, you're exploring consciousness through the frequency of prosperity. When you desire romantic love, you're not just seeking personal fulfillment. You're investigating consciousness through the frequency of intimate connection. When you desire creative expression, you're not just seeking personal satisfaction. You're allowing consciousness to know itself through the frequency of artistic beauty. Every manifestation is consciousness, exploring its own infinite potential through your unique perspective and experience. This is why your desires matter to the universe. They aren't random wants. They are specific ways that universal consciousness is seeking to express itself through the prism of your individual awareness. When you operate from trust instead of fear, from knowing instead of hoping, from being instead of trying, you naturally collapse the timelines where your desires are already fulfilled. Not because you forced it to happen, but because you removed the resistance that was preventing it from happening. This is the difference between manifestation as manipulation and manifestation as collaboration. When you try to manipulate reality, you're operating from the belief that the universe is resistant to your desires. But when you collaborate with reality, you're operating from the understanding that the universe is conspiring for your desires. If this understanding is shifting something in your perception, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps this frequency reach others who are ready for this truth. And here's the evidence for this understanding. Look at everything that has ever flowed into your life effortlessly: your breath, your heartbeat, your cellular regeneration. You don't try to make these happen. They happen through you because you're aligned with the intelligence that creates them. Manifestation works the same way when you align with the intelligence that creates everything. The practices that actually work aren't about doing more, but about being more receptive. They're not about adding techniques to your routine, but about removing barriers from your energy. They're not about convincing the universe to give you what you want, but about becoming available to receive what's already yours. Let me share the most effective practice I know for shifting from trying to allowing, from effort to ease, from resistance to receptivity. It's called the recognition protocol, and it works by training your nervous system to recognize what's already here instead of focusing on what's missing. First, create space for stillness. This doesn't require hours of meditation or elaborate rituals, just 5 minutes of uninterrupted presence where you're not trying to fix, change, or improve anything. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and let your breath find its natural rhythm. Next, bring to mind something you desire, but instead of focusing on not having it, focus on the quality of energy it would bring to your life. If you desire abundance, focus on the feeling of security and freedom. If you desire love, focus on the feeling of connection and appreciation. If you desire health, focus on the feeling of vitality and ease. Now here's the key. Instead of trying to generate these feelings, look for where you're already experiencing them in your life right now. Where do you already feel secure? Where do you already feel loved? Where do you already feel vital? Let yourself fully receive these existing experiences instead of dismissing them as not enough. As you breathe into these present moments of fulfillment, notice how your body responds. Notice how your nervous system begins to relax. Notice how the energy of having becomes more familiar than the energy of wanting. This is the frequency that magnetizes more of what you're already receiving. I'm curious about your experience with this shift. Share in the comments below. What's one moment when you felt yourself move from wanting to already having? What did that recognition feel like in your body? The final step is integration. Instead of ending the practice and immediately focusing on what's still missing, carry this frequency of recognition into your day. Let yourself notice where life is already saying yes to you instead of only seeing where it seems to be saying no. This practice works because it trains your nervous system to feel familiar with having what you want. And familiarity is the secret to manifestation. The field brings you more of what feels normal to you, not what feels exciting or special. When abundance feels normal, abundance flows. When love feels normal, love multiplies. When success feels normal, success accelerates. But there's another layer most people miss. Your nervous system doesn't just need to feel familiar with having what you want. It needs to feel safe with having what you want. This is where many manifestations get blocked, not because you can't receive them, but because your nervous system perceives receiving them as dangerous. Think about it. What would actually change in your life if you manifested everything you say you want? How would your relationships shift? What responsibilities would you have? What expectations would others place on you? What aspects of your identity would need to evolve? Your nervous system is constantly calculating these potential changes and determining whether they feel safe or threatening. If your nervous system associates wealth with greed, love with vulnerability, success with isolation, or visibility with danger, it will unconsciously sabotage your manifestations to keep you in the comfort zone of limitation. This isn't personal failing or lack of worthiness. It's biological programming designed to keep you alive, even when that programming is outdated and no longer serves your growth. This is why true manifestation work often involves healing not just your relationship to desire, but your relationship to receiving, having, being seen, taking up space, and claiming your power. It requires updating your nervous system safety settings so that expansion feels safer than contraction, abundance feels safer than scarcity, and love feels safer than protection. One of the most powerful ways to do this is through what I call embodiment rehearsal. This involves spending time each day not just visualizing what you want, but actually practicing being the person who already has it. How would you navigate your day if you already possessed the relationship you desire? How would you approach decisions if you already experienced the abundance you crave? How would you treat yourself and others if you already embodied the confidence you seek? This isn't about pretending or employing a fake-it-till-you-make-it mentality. This is about retraining your nervous system. You're providing your body with tangible evidence that it's safe to inhabit this expanded version of yourself. You're forging new neural pathways that support the identity of someone who naturally attracts what they desire. You're building emotional resilience, strengthening your capacity to handle the higher vibrational frequencies of joy, abundance, love, and success. As you practice this embodiment, diligently observe any emerging resistance. Note where your nervous system instinctively recoils back into familiar limitations. These moments of resistance are invaluable. They are treasure troves of information revealing what requires healing, updating, or releasing to facilitate the effortless flow of your manifestations. Perhaps you notice that when you embody abundance, an inner voice labels you as greedy or selfish. This highlights a limiting belief that demands transformation. Perhaps embodying love leaves you feeling vulnerable and exposed, indicating a need to cultivate a greater sense of safety and security. Perhaps embodying success triggers feelings of guilt or unworthiness, pointing to deep-seated worthiness issues ready for healing. Each instance of resistance is a gift, precisely pinpointing the obstacles between you and your desires. Once clearly identified, you can consciously address these blocks instead of remaining unconsciously controlled by them. However, this approach often faces resistance from a different source entirely. Many find its simplicity unsettling. It doesn't necessitate years of study or intricate techniques. It doesn't create the feeling of toiling arduously to earn what you want, challenging the deeply ingrained belief that anything worthwhile must be hard-won. If this acknowledgement of simplicity resonates with you, if it triggers a recollection of something you've always known but perhaps forgotten, then I encourage you to subscribe not only to this channel, but also to this frequency of trust. The more you immerse yourself in this understanding, the more natural and intuitive it becomes to live it. This isn't about consuming more manifestation content. It's about embodying the truth that you already are what you seek to become. It's about recognizing that the very act of searching creates a perceived separation from what you're seeking. A profound transformation occurs when you fully embody this understanding. You cease being someone who manifests and become someone through whom things manifest. You transition from a person with desires to consciousness experiencing itself through the fulfillment of those desires. You shift from being separate from the universe to becoming the universe experiencing itself through your unique perspective. This shift in identity is the ultimate manifestation lesson, revealing that there's nothing to manifest. There's only consciousness recognizing itself in infinite forms. Your desires aren't things you need to acquire. They are ways consciousness expresses itself through you. Your manifestations aren't achievements you earn. They're gifts consciousness bestows upon you through your willingness to receive. Living from this understanding requires releasing every narrative that suggests manifestation should be difficult, that you must earn what you want, or that you are somehow undeserving of immediate fulfillment. These stories aren't your truth. They're collective programming, keeping many trapped in cycles of striving without ease, desiring without receiving, and trying without thriving. Let me detail some of the most common stories that impede manifestation, along with strategies to release them. The first is the belief that good things take time. This seems reasonable, even virtuous, Yet it's actually a limitation masquerading as wisdom. In the quantum realm, linear time doesn't exist. Past, present, and future coexist simultaneously. Manifestations appear to take time only because your consciousness moves through different vibrational frequencies at a pace determined by your willingness to embody them. When you genuinely align with the frequency of your desires, when your nervous system feels completely secure in possessing them, when your identity fully embraces them, manifestation can occur instantaneously. Any delay isn't inherent in the field's capacity to deliver. The delay resides in your readiness to receive. The second story is the belief that suffering is essential for growth. This belief is deeply ingrained, leading many to unconsciously create struggle to feel spiritually worthy. However, suffering isn't a prerequisite for evolution. Challenge and growth can unfold just as effectively through joy, expansion, and ease as through pain and limitation. In fact, joyful and easy states open you to insights, intuitive downloads, and quantum leaps that accelerate your development. Third, many believe that manifesting material possessions is somehow less spiritual than manifesting inner peace or wisdom. This creates a hierarchy of desires, fragmenting consciousness and blocking manifestations. The same quantum principles driving inner transformation also create outer abundance. The same consciousness manifesting peace manifests prosperity. The universe doesn't differentiate between spiritual and material because everything is spirit expressing itself as matter. The fourth story is the idea that if something is meant for you, it will happen effortlessly, negating the need for desire or effort. This passive approach overlooks the creative partnership between you and the universe. You aren't passive recipients of whatever life delivers. You're conscious co-creators, actively shaping your experiences through choices, intentions, and vibrational alignment. Finally, many believe that manifestation is selfish, that focusing on personal desires detracts from serving others. This reflects a fundamental misunderstanding of consciousness. Manifesting from alignment, embodying frequencies of love, abundance, joy, and peace, makes you a living testament to what's possible for everyone. Your fulfilled desires don't diminish what's available to others. They expand it by demonstrating that limitation is optional. As you begin releasing these stories, you might notice your mind clinging to them, a natural response since they've been integral to your identity. This is normal and expected. Your mind has used these limitations as a form of protection, even though they are creating the very problems they attempt to solve. Be patient and compassionate with yourself during this transition. Remember, you're not simply changing your thoughts about manifestation. You're rewiring neural pathways, updating nervous system programming, and fundamentally shifting your relationship with reality. This is profound work, deserving of reverence and gentle care. Trust that as you release these old stories, new possibilities will organically emerge. You don't need to replace them with new beliefs. Simply create space by letting go of what no longer serves and allow the truth to unveil itself through direct experience. Releasing these limiting beliefs triggers a miraculous shift. Life becomes a continuous flow of manifestation because you're no longer resisting the natural abundance constantly seeking expression through you. You become a clear conduit for consciousness to know itself through the fulfillment of desires. This is where the quantum aspect becomes undeniable. The field doesn't distinguish between small and large desires, simple and complex manifestations. It only responds to vibrational frequency. When you're aligned with the frequency of receiving, everything you're aligned with flows to you with equal ease. This means your bank balance, relationships, health, creativity, and purpose, everything, can shift as rapidly as your frequency shifts. There's no hierarchy of difficulty in the quantum field. There's only alignment or resistance, coherence or confusion, allowing or forcing. Many manifestation teachings imply different techniques for different desires, but quantum science reveals that all manifestation operates through the same mechanism. Consciousness collapses possibilities into experiences based on vibrational resonance. Alter your resonance, alter your reality. It's that simple, yet that profound. However, simple doesn't equate to easy for most, because simplicity requires surrendering the complexity the mind uses to feel important. It requires trusting something beyond your personal will. It requires being willing to receive without understanding how you earned it. This surrender isn't defeat, it's ultimate victory. The recognition that you don't need to battle reality to obtain what you desire. Reality isn't your enemy. It's the field through which consciousness expresses infinite creativity. And you are not separate from that consciousness. You are that consciousness knowing itself through your unique desires and manifestations. When this truth becomes your lived experience, not just an intellectual concept, manifestation ceases to be something you do and becomes something you are. You don't manifest abundance, you are abundance expressing as form. You don't manifest love, you are love recognizing itself everywhere. You don't manifest success, you are consciousness celebrating its infinite potential. From this recognition, everything you've ever wanted becomes not just possible but inevitable. What you want isn't something external that may or may not choose you. It's consciousness expressing its desire to know itself more fully through your willingness to embody its infinite possibilities. Consider watching this video daily for the next week to attune your nervous system to this frequency of recognition. If someone you know struggles with manifestation or feels stuck in cycles of effort without ease, share this with them. Sharing these quantum consciousness concepts creates an energetic ripple effect, reinforcing your own understanding while expanding collective awareness of what's truly possible. This is why manifestation is simpler than you think. It's not about acquiring something you lack, it's about recognizing what you've always been. It's not about becoming worthy of your desires, it's about remembering that your desires exist because you are already worthy of them. It's not about convincing the universe to grant you what you want. It's about realizing that you and the universe are not separate. As we conclude this journey, feel into this truth. What you want isn't something to chase, it's already seeking you. What you desire isn't something to earn, it's already chosen you. What you're drawing in isn't separate from you. It's the universe recognizing itself through your unique expression. Take a moment to share a single word in the comments that encapsulates the energy you choose to embody, moving forward. Let this be your energetic signature to the quantum field, a declaration of who you choose to be, rather than what you're trying to obtain. If this understanding resonates with you, if it activates something you've always known but perhaps forgotten, subscribe not just to stay connected, but to maintain coherence with this frequency of trust and recognition. The more of us who embody this truth, the more the world reflects the reality that abundance, love, and fulfillment aren't scarce resources to be fought over, but infinite expressions of consciousness to be celebrated and shared. The quantum field isn't neutral. It's responsive, alive, and intelligent. It's already moving everything you've ever wanted toward you at the speed of your willingness to receive it. Not the speed of your effort, but the speed of your receptivity. Not the speed of your trying, but the speed of your trusting. Not the speed of your working, but the speed of your being. What you want wants you back. It's been seeking you through every desire, every dream, every vision. Now, it's time to stop running from it and start running toward it. Not by doing more, but by being more available to what's already present. This quantum truth changes everything. You are not separate from what you want. You are the space through which it manifests, the consciousness through which it expresses, the love through which it takes form. This recognition isn't the start of your manifestation journey, it's the culmination. When you realize you and your desires are one within the field of consciousness, seeking ends and receiving begins. Wanting ends and having begins. Trying ends and being begins. In that beginning, that return to what you've always been, everything you've ever wanted finds its way home to you. To deepen your understanding of how the quantum field responds to your consciousness, explore how quantum entanglement proves that your thoughts create reality. This reveals the scientific mechanism underlying everything discussed today.